working for me.
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Bobby and Bryan Baker, our newly hired commercial manager, here with East Carolina Rides. Appreciate you coming today, Bryan.
Yeah. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's of course every week we try to have something a little different. I tried to get service in here last week. It didn't end up working out. They get her early, so part of it I think is that he's on the clock, and if he's got customers he's dealing with, I might be building up of an excuse for him. But he may get another invite. But I told him, look, it's going to be like probably 6 to 8 weeks at least, about the time it takes to build a car. But I'm glad you came today because we're talking about commercial. You I know are fairly new to this side of things. I've sold a lot of businesses over the years, and I for one appreciate that you and the dealership came together to be the commercial manager, because it's a heavy load, I know, on Bryan Rogers.
It is,
and it's a lot to go through a build and to deal with the upfitters, and having to sort of coordinate, because look, businesses, they ain't got time to be waiting around.
Nope, time is money with them.
Yeah. So, for somebody to come into that role is something I appreciate, and I think it'll be a great asset to building a relationship with businesses, which of course that's the big R and our values, the bride part of the dealership. So But I've got a few questions, because being new to the business, I know some of these things might not be quite yet in your repertoire, and you might be still building on some of your knowledge, which makes this fun. I think for me, anyways, I love learning, and car business has always got opportunities to learn. But share with me a little bit, as far as your mindset, and maybe some of your background of helping businesses so far. In the business.
So, like I said, I'm Bryan, and I've been in the business since September of last year. Newly promoted to the rank of commercial manager, and that was as of April 1st. So, thus far, I've done a couple of the upfits so far, and learning quite a bit from it. And it's a learning experience. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier, with commercial clients, time is money, and they don't like to waste time or money.
Yeah, it's one of those things. We've already had one deal that we came together basically right as you were being migrated into the role. A customer of mine owns a furniture business, and we got him to hook up. And I mean, part of that was the ease and the transition into talking about something that was his personal vehicle, which is, sometimes a little more fun, but some businesses, business owners, I mean, that's their baby. They want it to be nurtured and taken care of. They want it to be not a whole bunch of finagling back and forth. It's kind of like, it's almost like a one-shot deal. You get our best quote because they shop just like customers.
I found that they do. But then again, when the commercial customer comes in, for the most part, they know what they want.
Right.
So they're not as shoppy, if that's a word, as some of the other customers are.
Right.
They're typically very much to the point. They know what they want, they know what they're after, and they know what they're going to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of times they budgeted, or their CPA has budgeted for them. And I know towards the end of the year, you're probably going to see a flux, as businesses get into crunch time of being able to take advantage of tax savings. But it's something that I think as somebody that's in sales and doesn't deal with a lot of businesses, maybe they don't realize what that means for a business. Can you explain just sort of generally what you've gleaned so far from businesses taking advantage of those tax savings?
So far, the businesses like to take advantage of different upfits. So different upfits qualify for different breaks, tax breaks.
Okay.
So like for instance, if you buy a ProMaster minivan, or not a minivan, if you buy a ProMaster van and you upfit it with graphics, It could qualify sometimes up to $500 off,
Yeah.
sometimes $1,000 off, depending on what kind of upfit you put on the vehicle.
Right.
If you put ladder racks, or if you put a shelving system or a divider and things of that nature, those obviously qualify for more of a tax break than the graphics package would.
No, and I think maybe we're talking about the rebates.
Correct.
The rebates. So, but they also get, depending on the business, how much money they make. They also can save. I guess when you go into a big purchase, you get depreciation. Is I guess what I'm referring to. But
Yes.
But there's all kinds of reasons for businesses to buy these vehicles other than serving the business needs. It ends up making a lot of sense money wise, and that's one thing I thought was pretty neat. We both kind of went to a little sheet here, and we had AI help us out. But talking about the possibility of a salesperson's mindset is selling how it looks, selling how the features and comforts are, but really I think
it's a different ballgame from a commercial standpoint.
Yeah.
They look at functionality of the vehicle, how much money it's going to make for them.
Right.
All kinds of good stuff.
A lot of business owners, it is about the bottom line and
Yes.
and about uptime rather than downtime. Because if a business has got downtime, that's money lost. Just like if they lost a customer or they ended up botching a job or something like that. And so in turn, one of the things that we're starting to get back to enrolling people in is Business Link, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
So Business Link is a program that we offer. It's a free program that if you are a business owner, then you get signed up for Business Link. You get preferential treatment and service. So you come in, you provide your Business Link number to the service provider, and you get next day availability.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's same day service, whereas general customers have to wait a day or two to get their service done.
Yeah.
For Business Link, it's preferential treatment, and it's a lot of times it's same day.
Yeah. And that's a huge advantage. When you buy a new vehicle from us, a commercial vehicle, you have to have a business. You can't just buy a Jeep and be like, yeah, I got an LLC. Can you enroll me in Business Link? Or is that easy? Is it that easy? I don't know. I've never really.
As long as they're registered,
and
they're in with the Secretary of State's website, or they've got documentation to prove that they've got a business, then yes, we can enroll them in Business Link.
Oh wow. Okay. Next time I buy my car, it's time to register.
Time to register your podcast as an LLC.
Before I came back to the car business, I took a little break and I started a in-house studio, and so playing music and that sort of thing gave me the opportunity to see what it was like to run a business, and I've learned some of the ins and outs, and that you can claim a loss. I don't have to make any money, but I can make money on the tax savings. I've learned with equipment purchases, and that's one of those things that I've found to be an advantage of owning an LLC. However, it almost offsets itself because you got to pay a fee every year, to maintain an LLC. But because I did that, I've got an LLC now, and I probably won't do that. Look, I work here, so I'm not gonna jump ahead of any other businesses that need the
benefit of it,
right? So, but joking aside, it's a very advantageous thing that we have to offer. And it's something that other dealerships offer, but I think if they don't have a commercial manager, they probably don't have somebody. Yeah, they don't do that.
That's new to us as well. Like I said, we just brought this program back starting in April. April 1st was the first day of launch. Launch date, I guess, is what you would call it.
Okay.
So we've just now started enrolling people back in Business Link, and we've just now started with the upfits and things that we've had. But they've fallen by the wayside as commercial sales haven't been booming as much as they typically would. But hopefully now we've got the program back up and running that we could.
Spider on my eye. We got a spider problem. Sometimes we'll have spiders drop down from the ceiling. I don't know if you've dealt with that at your desk.
No, not yet.
But yeah, that alone is a huge benefit of coming to East Carolina Chrysler Dodge Jeep and buying their commercial vehicle. Not only that, but we do have a large list of vendors that we've always kind of kept a relationship with. I know, look, I'm coming representing today. I got my Coastal Linings cup and my Coastal Linings hat. They've been a great vendor for us so far.
They have. We've worked at quite a few deals with them as far as bed liners, running boards, tonneau covers, things of that nature, lifts.
They've done a couple commercial things for us. I know for me, they had they did a partition. It wasn't, and that's the thing about that company, is that it wasn't necessarily in their wheelhouse at the time to work with the components that we had available, because the customer wanted to move their partition from their old vehicle to the new one. And look, they took on the job, and I was very surprised because they did it for a reasonable cost for us. They made the customer happy, which is the ultimate goal. And ended up saving us some money because we had kind of built it into the deal to transition that over, and we didn't know what that was going to cost, but they're very flexible, and that goes a long way.
And they work well with us. Like I said, they're new to the commercial aspect of it as well. They started around the same time frame as we did with our relaunch of our program. They've done, as a matter of fact, the ProMaster van over there with the HVAC system in it. For the heating and air company with all the shells and the partitions and the ladder rack.
They pre-upfit a couple of our vans.
Do.
Yeah, no, that makes for a great segue into the turnkey process. And having that basically become a part of, I think, what's really vital to your role into making this process for commercial customers to come find their truck, make sure that it works for them, get the proper upfit, and make sure that their needs are being met in a timely manner. And the having something already set up like that is huge. I know we sold one last year that basically was just like, as soon as it hit the lot, it was only like 2 or 3 weeks. This other one I think has sat here for a little while.
But, yeah, it's been here for a couple of months.
But that kind of tends to be the way, I think, with commercial products. Is it's a because for a little while we were in the interim before COVID, I was kind of taking on the commercial role, and it's a lot to try to do sales with consumers. And then also commercial. It's a lot to take on, and I had to kind of step away. I learned a lot, but that's what it ends up being, is you have to kind of wait. You have to be patient.
You do. Like in the military, they refer to it as standing by to stand by.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got to...
Appreciate your service, by the way. I was going to mention that sometime along the line here. That's... In the car business, we love to always be doing something, man. It's tough to just sit.
Time is
wait.
money, like we said earlier with the commercial clients. Time is money.
Yeah, and you can't you can, but you probably shouldn't hound a commercial business after you've given them a quote. You kind of just got to let it rest. It's a different mindset and a different approach to what we're taught, at least initially in car sales. It's got to be today, right now. And,
right now.
Yeah. And we want it to be that way. We want a commercial business to just say okay to the first quote, but
a lot of times that's not realistic.
Right. That's right. And sometimes if a business is really, not to call them tight, I feel like I was about to say something, but businesses are always looking at the bottom line, but they put out a blanket thing and say, hey, who's ever going to give me the lowest quote is going to get the business. Well, I think that's a big part of your role, is that relationship eventually, after 2-3 years of serving somebody, is that they ain't going to send out that blanket quote anymore. They're just going to come to you.
They're going to come straight to us.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to the growth that's on the way, and there's going to be a lot of learning curves, I'm sure. just still, even though I've done it for a long time, upfitting vehicles or at least making sure people's payload is matched to what they're using it for. But there's a lot of moving parts involved with making sure that what you get somebody and what you're selling, that $80, $90, $100,000
Yep,
vehicle.
a lot of them are north of $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you get the upfits and the beds and all the specifications that the client wants,
Right.
Some of them are north of $100,000.
It's a big investment, and
It is.
You don't want to sell somebody something that ain't gonna work for them, because that will
That's not going to be.
that'll put an end to a relationship.
That's end of the relationship real quick.
Yeah, and so I know there's a lot moving forward that will be a part of the process, and I'm kind of relieved a little bit because you are taking some of the stress off of me, and I know Bryan appreciates it too.
He does.
He's got a lot going on, being GSM, being a truck manager, being the upfit guy to go to have the relationship between these people, dealing with a wholesale staff and sales managers. You got to eventually.
He wears many hats.
Yeah, no doubt. You got to divide and conquer, and he's been good at that and been able to delegate. I think that's the sign of a great manager. So, but I know I don't know how much time we've spent here talking about commercial. Any insight so far that you've gained from basically jumping into this role? I know you've only been in it for 3, maybe 4 weeks.
3 weeks.
What have you seen change in your roles so far in the dealership?
That's a good question. A lot of things have changed, and like we said earlier, this is still very brand new to me. It's still in its infancy.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning quite a bit. I'm still taking my commercial sales manager classes that I've got to take.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I was telling you, I did the RAM expert. And at this point, I've near about memorized the questions because they don't change very much. But it's actually a pretty difficult course study because it talks about more than just serving the needs of truck customers. It talks about towing, all the different classes of vehicles and the receivers and what you call what the pintle hook is for, which is rarely used nowadays for people, outside of maybe utility trucks, and so I mean there's a lot of different vehicles. I know the primary thing that we're going to be probably selling are flatbeds, utility beds, and dump bodies.
Bodies.
Service bodies. Yep.
Yeah, dump bodies are a little bit of a rare breed, but when they come in hot and heavy.
You don't want to
not have some, and that's one thing that we're looking to do now is upfit a couple trucks that have already upfitted on the lot.
Okay, that's good.
I think Bryan said he was going to allocate a couple trucks maybe in the near future to go ahead and get an upfit done.
Yeah,
that's something that we're currently discussing to see if that's an availability option if the owner of Chip is
open to putting that money out there.
Yeah,
because it does take some floor plan. So
yeah, it does take some floor planning, and in conversations with Chip and Bryan, they both seem to be on board with doing it. We just got to coordinate and figure out which bodies we want to put on and which vehicles we want to put it on, and go from there.
That's the challenge with keeping something in stock is you want to fit a sort of wide customer base, but you also needed to fit a fairly narrow purpose. So it's a challenge finding that vehicle because we don't want it sitting here obviously for a year and a half and it's still not sold because it's too niche, of a usage. It's like if you get a crane body or something, it's like, you got.
That's not something we would typically go ahead and get up.
Right.
That's got to be a specialty order.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's gonna be too niche and it's not gonna sell.
Yeah.
Unless you find out one specific company that's coming in looking for a crane body.
Right. I'm like, I got to have something that's built already, and that's rare. Most businesses understand, that it's not a super wham bam. Suddenly there's a body on a truck. It takes time. What have you gotten an idea of turnarounds? As things gotten a little better, at least in 22, 23? bodies were taken, like sometimes we have to tell people 6 months.
Yeah.
How's
Most
it
of the
looking
time
now?
I've seen so far between the 3 major vendors that I've got, which is Coastal Linings, Nap Hide, and Quality Bed Liners in Elm City. Most of those guys are taking between 6 and 8 weeks.
Okay. Well, that's great.
And that's great time. Some of them could be as much as 10 to 12, but for the majority of them, it's 6 to 8 weeks.
And I'm sure as we get closer to the end of the year, and this is, if a business owner happens to be watching this, an advantage of not waiting, towards the end of the year is that they're getting way ahead of the line of getting something built and not waiting for a body when everybody else is getting in line to get a body as well. Because
Absolutely.
so definitely don't wait. If you can avoid it, the tax savings, that people, because they're usually on the hustle, the CPA's like, you got to go spend some money. And they're like, oh, okay, well, I've got a month to spend $400,000, and that's when they come and buy a bunch of trucks. But, if you're a business owner, I would say, so talk to your CPA early, save yourself some hassle.
Go ahead and
don't go into panic mode.
and then try to bulk order in the last quarter of the month.
Yeah, because
of the year actually.
Because you got to be able to deliver the vehicle, and say if we've got to do a build for one of our trucks, that time period suddenly shrinks down, and we can't invoice a vehicle until it's been delivered to our lot.
Right.
So there's a lot of planning that goes involved, and I know you're going to be reaching out to a lot of businesses and growing the relationship. And I wish you the best of luck, man. I hope a successful growth period and hopefully not too many growing pains.
Yeah, I hope not. So far, it's been a smooth sail.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is it's not like you're coming into a dealership that's never done commercial sales. You got Bryan, which is going to be Bryan Rogers, who's going to be a great help.
He's always been a good sounding board for me.
Yeah. And Tony's done it a little bit. He's more on the financing side. He knows, generally speaking, what banks to go to, when it comes to financing. And then, if Charlene comes back, she's actually very knowledgeable about that stuff too. And of course, you can come to me. I don't know that I'll always be the best to help because I've kind of let it go to the wayside. I let Bryan Rogers handle a lot of my commercial stuff, but when things get tricky, you've got quite a lot of resources, especially with our vendors. They're super knowledgeable. All of our vendors, the ones you listed, I've dealt with all of them over the years, and never really had a bad experience.
No.
And they've always
been pretty stand up from the time that I've dealt with them so far.
Yeah.
They've been very straightforward. If I needed a quote, they've always jumped right in and sent it right over within a day.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I like about our businesses and our vendors so far.
Yeah. We've maintained that relationship and can carry it over to our customers and make this a easy, simplified, maybe not always cheap adventure for them to go into their next commercial vehicle. But anything you want to share before we go? I know we got a day to start. We got 2 days left of the month, man. We got to try to crush some sales.
Yeah, just if you are in the need of a commercial vehicle, reach out to me. I'd be happy to assist you and give you the best opportunity to make a purchase, and whatever I can do to help you guys out.
And that goes for sales too.
That goes for sales as well, because I do still sell on the side as well.
Yep. Well, look, appreciate you visiting today, and thanks again for joining me on the podcast. And check us out next week. Next week, going to try to have another guest. I'm continuously trying to figure out how to expand on this. I'm still dealing with sort of a smaller studio space. I saw that our competition has jumped into the foray and starting their podcast. So I love it. Competition makes me want to get better. So
breeds excellence.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to continue rolling on, but join us next week. I'll be back, and Bryan will be selling, but we'll try to have you back again after you had a little bit of time, so we can see the the before and
See
after.
see the growth.
That's right. But thanks again, man. Thanks for
Yeah.
watching, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see y'all.